Let me tell you something most men don't realize. Women will forgive almost anything, except when a man reveals the wrong kind of truth. See, you've been told honesty is the foundation of a strong relationship. And yes, it is. But here's the part nobody tells you. There are certain truths that, once spoken, completely change how a woman sees you. Not because she's shallow, not because she doesn't care, but because women are wired to respond emotionally before they respond logically. When a man shares too much, especially the wrong type of information, it shifts how she feels about him instantly. And once that shift happens, attraction starts to fade. She may still like you, she may still respect you, but that spark, that energy that made her see you as the man she couldn't stop thinking about, that's gone. Here's the thing. Women don't always tell you this. We won't sit you down and say, "Oh, by the way, never tell me this or I'll never look at you the same again." Instead, we just quietly feel it, and once that switch flips, you can't flip it back. That's why this conversation matters. Because if you're a man who wants to be respected, desired, and valued by women, you need to understand not just what attracts us, but what kills attraction faster than anything else. And very often, it's not your actions, not your looks, not even your status. It's your words. Today, I'm going to give you 5 secrets you must never tell women. These are the things that make us feel differently about you in ways you don't even notice at first. I'm not here to sugarcoat it. I'm here to be real with you, so you never make the mistake of opening your mouth and ruining what could have been something powerful. 1. Stop confessing your insecurities to her. Here's the thing most men don't get. Women are not built to carry your emotional weight the way your best friend or therapist should. When you constantly unload your insecurities on a woman, it doesn't make her feel closer to you. It makes her feel like she's losing respect for you. Now, don't twist this. I'm not saying you can never be vulnerable with a woman. Vulnerability, when it's rare and intentional, can actually deepen attraction because it shows strength in knowing yourself. But there's a huge difference between controlled vulnerability and dumping every insecurity that crosses your mind. The truth is, when a man starts confessing things like, "I'm not good enough," or "I feel like I can't keep up with other guys," or "I'm scared you'll leave me for someone better," it immediately shifts how she sees him. Why? Because women are naturally wired to look for strength in a man. Not just physical strength, but emotional strength. We want to feel like we can lean on you. We want to feel secure in your presence. The moment you start coming to us for validation, every time you feel shaky inside, you're no longer the man she leans on. You're the man leaning on her. And whether she says it out loud or not, that's when attraction starts slipping away. Let me paint it clearly. Imagine you've been dating a woman for a few weeks and things are going well. You like her, she likes you, the chemistry is strong. Then one night, instead of keeping the conversation light, confident and playful, you start saying things like, "I don't know why a woman like you even likes me," or "I always get nervous that I'll mess this up." In your mind, you're being honest. You're showing her the real you. But in her mind, she's thinking, "Wait, if he doesn't even believe in himself, why should I believe in him?" That one slip of the tongue plants a seed of doubt. And once a woman doubts your confidence, it's hard for her to feel the same level of desire for you. She may still like you, but that obsession, that feeling of, "I need him," it fades. Men need to understand this. Your insecurities are not her responsibility. They're yours to face, to work on, to master. The more you make her your emotional dumping ground, the more you strip away the very thing that made her attracted to you in the first place. 2. Why talking about past struggles backfires. Men often think that if they open up about every painful detail of their past, women will admire them more for their honesty. But here's the truth. Oversharing your past struggles rarely makes a woman more attracted to you. In fact, it often has the opposite effect. When you sit down with a woman and tell her everything about how you used to be broke, how you got cheated on 3 times, how you never felt respected growing up, you think you're giving her the raw version of yourself. You're hoping she'll see it as, wow, this man has overcome so much. But what she actually feels in the moment is heaviness. It doesn't excite her. It doesn't spark desire. It makes her see you through the lens of your old wounds instead of the man you are today. Now, don't get me wrong. Women appreciate a man who has depth. We don't want someone who's shallow or fake. But there's a huge difference between being a man with depth and being a man who constantly drags his past into the present. When you make your old struggles a centerpiece of your conversations, you're forcing her to live in that version of you, the version you're supposed to have already grown past. Here's the reality. Women are naturally forward-looking when it comes to attraction. We're drawn to where a man is going, not where he's been stuck. When you remind us too much of your past hardships, you risk anchoring us to a weaker, less attractive image of you. Even if you've already moved on, the fact that you're still bringing it up tells us those struggles still define you. And here's another layer most men don't realize. When you unload your past too quickly, women sometimes lose the space to form their own perception of you. Instead of discovering your strength through your actions, they're forced to listen to you explain your old weaknesses. That strips away the mystery and removes the chance for attraction to grow naturally. It's not that you can never share your past. In fact, the right moments to reveal little pieces of your story can make you even more magnetic. But those moments should come when she's already invested in you, when she's already seen your strength and respects the man you've become. Then, when she learns what you've overcome, it deepens her admiration. The timing makes all the difference. 3. Never reveal your weakness with other women. One of the fastest ways to kill a woman's attraction is to tell her how badly you failed with other women. I know some men think this kind of honesty shows humility, but to us, it just reveals weakness in the exact area where we want to see you as strong. Here's what I mean. When you tell a woman that you've been rejected a lot, that women never took you seriously, or that your ex walked all over you, she doesn't think, wow, he's being so real with me. What she actually thinks is, if other women didn't value him, why should I? That's the quiet truth. Women don't want to feel like they're picking up a man that no one else wanted. Attraction isn't just about how you make us feel. It's also about how you're perceived socially. When you position yourself as the guy who was overlooked, mistreated, or ignored by other women, you lose that aura of desirability. Because whether we admit it or not, women are influenced by social proof. If other women see you as valuable, we naturally assume there must be something special about you. If other women didn't want you, that raises doubt in our minds, even if you're a good guy. And it's not just about your past relationships. Even little comments like, I've never been good at approaching women, or girls usually just friend zone me, are like tiny cuts to your attraction. It's self-sabotage. You think you're being transparent, but what you're really doing is making her question why she should feel desire for you when you clearly don't believe you're desirable. Understand this. Women are attracted to confidence, not confessions of weakness. And confidence isn't about pretending to be perfect. It's about standing in your present power without undermining yourself with unnecessary admissions. If you've had a rough past with women, fine. But that's not something she needs to know. It doesn't build intimacy, it doesn't build trust, and it certainly doesn't build obsession. It only makes her feel like she's in a position of superiority over you, which is never where you want her to be. Here's the real play. Let her experience the version of you that other women may have overlooked, but now shines because you've grown, matured, and elevated yourself. Let her feel like she discovered the man that others were blind to. That creates excitement. That creates investment. But if you reveal your past struggles with women directly, you rob her of that experience. 4. Don't overshare your fears about the future. Here's something men often get wrong. You think that telling a woman all your fears about the future will make you look honest, relatable, or even human. But from a woman's perspective, when you overshare your doubts about what lies ahead, it doesn't draw us closer. It makes us question whether you're a man we can truly trust and follow. Women are wired to seek security in a partner. That doesn't mean we expect you to have everything figured out. It doesn't mean you need to be rich, powerful, or have your 5-year plan carved in stone. What it does mean is this. We want to feel that when life gets uncertain, you're not going to collapse under the weight of it. We need to see resilience, not constant worry. When you start telling a woman things like, "I'm scared I'll never succeed," or "What if I can't provide the kind of life you want?" or "I don't know if I'll ever really find my purpose," those fears don't make her want to comfort you the way you think they might. Instead, they create doubt. She starts asking herself, can I actually rely on him? Can I trust him to lead when things get tough? Will he crumble when pressure hits? And those questions eat away at her attraction. Understand this. Women fall for men who project a sense of direction. It doesn't matter if your life is perfect right now. What matters is that you carry yourself with certainty, even when things are uncertain. That confidence is magnetic. It makes us feel safe. It makes us feel excited to be by your side. Now, this doesn't mean you should act like some robot with no fears at all. Nobody's asking you to pretend. But there's a big difference between briefly acknowledging a challenge and making it your whole identity in front of her. If you're constantly talking about how lost you feel, how unsure you are, or how you're scared of failure, you're not inspiring her, you're draining her. The irony is, women can actually handle a lot more uncertainty than men realize, as long as the man she's with carries himself with confidence. We'll walk through storms with you, but only if you give us a reason to believe you're capable of handling them. If you sound like you're already defeated before the battle even begins, it makes us question why we should invest in you at all. 5. Why telling her? She's out of your league destroys you. One of the biggest mistakes a man can make is putting a woman on a pedestal and then admitting it to her. The moment you say something like, "I can't believe a woman like you is with me," or "You're way out of my league," you think you're complimenting her. You think you're being sweet or showing appreciation. But from a woman's perspective, you just lowered your value instantly. I remember a friend of mine telling me about a guy she was dating. She liked him a lot. He was confident, charming, and had this energy that drew her in. But then one night, while they were out having drinks, he looked at her and said, "Honestly, I don't even know how I got you. You're way out of my league." She laughed it off in the moment, but later she told me that something inside her shifted. That statement made her see him differently. She realized he didn't even view himself as her equal. And once a man shows you that he doesn't see his own worth, it's hard to keep seeing him the way you once did. What men don't realize is that attraction isn't just about how much we like you. It's also about how much you believe you belong with us. When you tell a woman she's out of your league, you're basically saying, "I'm lucky to have you, but you could do better." That doesn't make us want to cling tighter. It makes us wonder if maybe you're right. Women don't want to feel like we're dating a fan. We want a partner. Someone who recognizes our value, but also recognizes his own. When you lower yourself, even with what you think is a flattering comment, it destroys the balance in the relationship. We stop looking at you as the man we admire and start looking at you as the man who put himself beneath us. And here's the truth. Women don't stay obsessed with men they can't respect. You can appreciate a woman's beauty, her intelligence, her personality, but do it from a place of strength, not submission. Instead of saying, "You're out of my league," say something like, "I like the way you challenge me," or "You make things exciting for me." See the difference? One puts you beneath her, the other puts you beside her, as her equal. 6. The courage to walk away. This is one of the most powerful actions a man can take, yet it's also the hardest. Most men cling to relationships long past their expiration date, not because they're in love, but because they're afraid. Afraid of being alone, afraid of starting over, afraid of losing what feels familiar, even if it's toxic. But here's the truth. The ability to walk away is the foundation of masculine strength. It signals to a woman that you value yourself more than her approval, and that's what separates leaders from followers in relationships. When a man stays in a dynamic where he's undervalued, ignored, or disrespected, he teaches her that his boundaries don't matter. Once she knows you'll tolerate anything, she loses respect. Respect is the oxygen of attraction. Without it, love suffocates. This is why walking away when necessary is not weakness. It's the ultimate show of self-respect. Now, I'm not saying you should abandon a relationship at the first sign of conflict. Mature men don't run from problems, they address them directly. But there's a line. If you've communicated your needs clearly, given her the chance to meet you halfway, and she still doesn't care, the strongest thing you can do is step back. That's when she realizes she's not dealing with a boy who needs her, but with a man who values himself enough to choose peace over chaos. Walking away also triggers something in women that men often underestimate: loss. Women are wired to respect men who don't chase after them endlessly. When you show her that your love is a gift, not a prison sentence, she's forced to reevaluate her behavior. She may step up, she may not. Either way, you win, because you refuse to betray yourself for her attention. The courage to walk away is what ensures that no matter what happens, you never lose the most important relationship you'll ever have, the one with yourself. 7. How true value creates irreplaceability. Every man wants to be unforgettable in a woman's life, but very few actually are. Most men rely on surface-level things, looks, money, or charm. But the truth is, those fade or get replaced. What never fades is the value you bring to her life as a man who stands firm in his strength, self-respect, and purpose. That's what makes you irreplaceable. Here's the reality. Attraction gets her attention, but value keeps her invested. A man who is grounded in his principles, who knows his worth, who doesn't tolerate disrespect, and who can lead himself without needing her approval. He's the kind of man she doesn't easily forget. Why? Because most men don't operate that way. They compromise themselves to keep her around, and in doing so, they lose the very essence that made her interested in the first place. Irreplaceability is not about being perfect, it's about being authentic and consistent. If you tell her what you expect, you back it up with your actions. If you set standards, you enforce them. If you give love, it's because you want to, not because you're desperate for it in return. This steadiness creates a deep imprint on her psychology. She knows that even if the relationship ends, she won't find another man like you easily, because most men bend under pressure while you stand tall. Here's another layer most men overlook. Women talk. They compare. They measure every man against the one who impacted them most. If you're the man who showed her discipline, confidence, and the strength to walk away when necessary, she will always remember you, even if her pride won't let her admit it. You become the standard. the silent benchmark against which every future man is measured. That's the real power of value. It's not about keeping her. It's about making her realize that losing you means losing something rare. And when she knows that, she'll fight harder to keep you than you'll ever need to fight to keep her. Here's the truth you can't afford to ignore. Women don't obsess over men who give them everything on a silver platter. They don't crave men who lose themselves just to be chosen. They don't respect men who fold at the slightest sign of pressure. What women remember, what women miss, and what women fear losing is a man who has value beyond just her. A man with self-respect, a man with boundaries, a man who knows who he is, with or without her. That's the man who becomes unforgettable, and listen carefully. This doesn't mean playing games, pretending not to care, or acting cold. That only creates temporary reactions. True power comes from balance, from giving when it's deserved, withholding when it's necessary, and never stepping outside of your principles just to please her. That's what makes her look back months or even years later and think, I'll never find another man like him. So here's your takeaway. Stop trying to be the man every woman wants. Start being the man a woman regrets losing. If you live by respect, strength, and authenticity, you'll never need to beg for attention. She'll give it freely because she knows men like you are rare. Now, I want you to drop a comment below. Which of these truths hit you the hardest today? Was it about boundaries, self-respect, or the fear women feel when they realize they can't replace a man like you?